in the Dow was Intel, and Merck trailed. Discovery was the biggest leader in the S&P 500, but Coty, the beauty company, along with broader staples, lagged on the day. Mike, finally hit a record high, first time since January. That was notable.
It's been trudging there, not surging to that point. But yeah, it is notable that the market, I would say for the last couple of weeks, has sort of declined a lot of these opportunities to pull back harder, right? You had the Turkey stuff. You've had, obviously, the trade headlines. It told traders that this 2,800 level was pretty comfortable for the moment. I don't think it's that unusual to revisit an old high that's been in place for, almost 7 months and have the market be a little bit bashful and back off a little bit, because momentum's not been strong. It's really just been kind of grinding its way toward the highs. Also, up more than 6% since the end of June. That's only 8 weeks. That's a pretty good move, no matter where you are relative to the old highs. So it seems a logical place to slow down.
Just when you get worried about a place like Turkey, you have an unexpected melt-up, Carrie. What does it say that lack of any real headlines or macroeconomic drivers in this market, and the path of least resistance is higher to new highs?
Yes, Sarah, that definitely is true right now. And it also appears that investors are very confident that consumer spending and the strength we're seeing in the consumer side of business is going to continue. If we look at just the last week or so between TJX, Kohl's, Toll Brothers, Costco, we can go through the list of names that have been struggling in the sense that consumers have not been spending as much, even though some of these have seen the customers come in, and the market is now finally embracing them. And this is not a part of the market that was strong in the first half. We've had a much broader market as earnings have been strong across the board in many sectors. And I think that is encouraging and points to at least a continued, I'd say, belief that earnings can grow over the next couple of quarters.
Mark, what do you chalk these record levels up to?
Well, I think a couple of things. One, I think the market really was being suffocated by concerns about the big three geopolitical risks that loom out there. One, of course, is trade, Sino-American relations. The other, of course, is Iran and the reimposition of sanctions and what that could do to potentially spike oil prices. And thirdly, of course, is the Turkey flu and the risk of contagion to European financial institutions and or other highly indebted emerging market countries. And since at the moment that's receded from the headlines as a concern, it's allowed the fundamentals to breathe, and the fundamentals have been very strong, both from a corporate profit standpoint and from an economic standpoint. So together, it says to me that the market, of course, in the absence of those headlines, has, as a path of least resistance, an upward bias.